Pleasure Explosion. I'm your host this week, Nicholas Pryor. We're joined today by Ashley Hobley.
How's everyone going?
Good.
Dylan.
How's everyone going? I'm Dylan.
Jono.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you broke it. You were supposed to say,
I
how's
will
everyone
have you.
going?
Well, I'm not going to do that.
That's Tom's thing.
Hello there. Hi. That was my best Jeff Goldblum.
What was
by
that?
That was something.
That was
Goldblum.
my Jeff Goldblum.
Yes, Jeff Goldblum. And you also said breast instead of best.
Breast Goldblum.
This is off to a good start.
Yep.
And Thomas.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm pretty good, thank you.
Yeah, excellent.
This week, I want to go a bit deep into my topic, and I want to ask you all two questions. The first is, when is the happiest you've ever been in your life? And second is, do you ever think you'll ever be that happy again? I want to start with you, Jono.
Oh, really? Usually you would go first because you've had time to think about it, but...
Yeah.
No, I want raw answers. I didn't prepare anyone.
For reference for this week's podcast for listeners, usually we know what the topic is. Nick this week decided to spring it on us, which you are allowed to do, but it makes it different.
I immediately have an answer. If you want to have Jono, then that's fine.
I can go. I've got two, probably. I'm tossing up between two answers. So
Okay.
Anyone
Thomas,
who's
you're up.
married has to give a specific answer, so...
I have two. I can go. That's sort of first thing come to mind. I have two answers to the most happiest I've ever been. The obvious one, obviously, is when William was born and when he came out safe, sound, and healthy. Well, that's the obvious answer is that when my son was born. But
who's laughing? Why is that funny?
I was just thinking about giving birth and the way he phrased it coming out.
Anyway, and the other one,
like a slip and slide.
the other one, oh dear.
Fucking shut up, Tom.
So the other answer is, and to both. No, I don't think I'll ever be that happy ever again. The second answer is when the Bulldogs won the grand final last year, and look, I'm gonna go on a bit of a story with this because
it's not one we've heard before.
That's
not in the context that I'm about to tell it. So, last year, my
Take your time. Take your time, Jack.
At the start of September last year, my dad passed away, which happened really suddenly. And fucking hell, get it out. All right. Yeah, Dad passed away last year at the start of September. And he was massive Bulldogs person. Massive, like the reason I barrack for the club, love them as much as I do, all of that. And he died really suddenly, and his one dream was to see them play in a grand final. That's all he wanted, just to see them play in a grand final, not even necessarily win one. He was born 3 days after the last time they'd played in a grand final in 1961. So he hadn't even been alive when they'd played in a grand final. And he passed away at the start of the final series, like the week before the final series last year. And at his funeral, I said, in his eulogy, knowing, the whole thing, Dad passed away last time, all he wanted to see was them playing a grand final. And I said in his eulogy, I'm like, knowing Dad's luck, they'll win it this year. And they did. Obviously, they did it in the most miraculous way, finishing seventh, and all the injuries and all that they have, having to travel interstate twice, and yeah, exactly. Like it never happened that way in the history of the game, and it was always this feeling that there was something more behind it. Like, I honestly believe, like, I couldn't, just the way that whole month played out. And it was such a, I think back to it, and it was such just a hazy sort of month of just being in this weird sort of mind space and just feeling like this, there was this energy around everything. And I never thought, like, from when they won that first game, I never thought they were a chance to lose. I thought they were going to, I just felt it, that they were going to go all the way. And, just they kept going. And obviously they got there and won. And the feeling at the end of that game when they finally won it, and it was just a feeling of like euphoria and then a bit of like bittersweetness to it, obviously, like amazing that they won it, but also that he couldn't be there to experience it was like really, really hurt. But it was just the most bizarre sort of month of my life that you could ever have. Just the emotional roller coaster. It was, Dad passing away, and then the month of football that followed, and I when I talk about football, like I do mean that it means a lot more to me than just a sport, and it has always, not just from like last year, but it always has, and that sort of riding that roller coaster of emotion through that month, and seeing them then get there, and being there on the day when they did it, and him knowing that he wasn't there, and it's just like, are you fucking serious? Are you fucking serious? Like. They couldn't have fucking lasted another 4 weeks. He couldn't have like another anyway. So that was, but it was like it was the probably the most the happiest moment of my life alongside my son being born, was that just them doing it, and honestly believe that like I'm not a super spiritual person. I am in some ways, and I do believe in some things like that, and I do believe that he somehow had some sort of hand in it, in the way that it sort of happened. And so yeah, that's my answer. And I don't think I'll ever feel that happy again, and nor do I want to, because of how sort of unique and special that moment and that time in my life was, and how emotional it was. And I honestly feel like I'm still fucking recovering from that month. Honestly, I think I'm that fucking emotionally broken from that month. It's been 9 months or whatever it's been now. It's a weird sort of thing, but yeah. So there's my answer. Yeah, exactly. So there's my answer to that question.
And you had to give us that answer after I made a joke about the Bulldogs again, didn't you? I appreciate that.
I hope you feel bad, Tom.
No.
I feel terrible.
I needed a little bit of.
So this isn't your moment, Tom?
I didn't. Yeah. So that was. Yeah. That's my.
It's okay. I knew what he was going to say, and I still was kind of giggling in the back because you made this. Fuck. That's why I was like, "Shut up, Tom," because I was like, "He's about to go serious," because I know what he's about to say. Yeah. Just shut up. You're making me laugh.
Yeah.
Like fucking school children here in the back of the table, like hee 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 hee.
Yeah, I've probably thought of what I will decide on, and it's the one that I should have said straight away, which was
you can have a couple, because I know I've got at least 3.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if we can have a couple, I'll first of all talk about a day that we've all talked about and experienced together, which was Saturday of Kind of Funny Live. Not Kind of Funny Live. Sorry, RTX. Kind of Funny Live will probably top that possibly, but RTX, like just the surprise of not knowing that Greg and Tim were going to show up it just made for such it just made for like such an amazing feeling of excitement and something we were all sharing together. It was just a very special feeling for me, and being just a cap off. It was in the middle, but it was kind of a cap on an amazing day that we got to all have together, and something we'll never forget, I think. But my wedding day was probably the one that I'll never forget. I'll never top as simply the happiness of there's a huge build up over several months, and all this planning and all this organisation and everything involved in getting married. I'm sure, Nick, it was probably similar for you, but to have everyone in that room that I cared about, and well, not everyone, but everyone that really meant something to me was there, and they were there for us, and they were there to celebrate us and starting our life together, and all the emotions that come with that. It was just a really amazing thing to. There's a sense of relief because it's you've got through it and you're starting something, and it's so much to look forward to, and yeah, it's just the only thing I can really see topping that is similar to Jack, like the birth of my first child. When that, if that ever happens, like that would be something.
When?
Huh?
When?
When it happens. When
As
it
soon
happens,
as possible.
Yeah.
As opposed to if. That
Yeah,
wasn't
sure.
a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, when's it happening?
That's what I thought too.
Give me a day. No. Yeah, so that's something that I can kind of foresee topping the wedding day, but at this point,
Yeah.
pretty amazing. And sharing, like knowing that Hannah was feeling the exact same way as me, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I might go next. Okay, I have 3 things, not in any particular order. The first one, obviously, is my wedding day. I mean, the way I felt that day was just, I can't even put into words. After the nightmare that was wedding planning, it was, like you said, such a relief to get through that and to know everyone was there for us and were happy for us, and just the elation both of I were feeling, actually like finally doing it and then starting something new. It was, yeah, like I said, I can't even put it into words how I felt that day. My second one is, my whole life growing up, I always wanted a dog. I've loved dogs for as long as I can remember, and my parents never let me have one, so I made a vow to myself, whenever I own my own house and can get my own dog, I would get one as soon as I can. And like, we'd bought this house, and for a couple of months we were like, when are we getting a dog? When are we getting a dog? To Stacey, and she was like, oh yeah, once we do this, and like get everything suited. And then one day we just decided we'd go and get one, and like we looked on Gumtree and found a breeder near home, and just going there to pick him up, I was in tears. I can't explain it. Like, I love animals so much, and dogs are my favourite, and the bond that I formed with him that day, just, I was emotional the whole day, how happy I was.
Which one was this?
Getting my dog.
Yeah,
Which
which
dog?
dog?
Which dog?
My eldest one, Jax.
Yeah.
And it was a puppy?
Yeah. Yeah, he was a puppy when I got him.
Okay.
Yeah, he
That's
was 9 weeks old, I think, when we got him. And then my last one was on the day after RTX finished on the Monday, going to the casino with my wife and watching the Patriots win the most incredible Super Bowl in the history of the sport, doing things that no other team has ever done in the Super Bowl ever, coming back from that big of a deficit and to win in the first overtime ever was... the atmosphere and the way everyone was feeling in that room, it was just indescribable. Especially after being so defeated for the first 3 quarters and like pretty much writing them off because no one has ever done it before, and just coming back and winning it like that was just amazing. And whether I feel this, if I ever feel happy as those moments again, I think that I will. I don't like to be defeatist saying, that's my high point, I'm never going to reach there again, which obviously it's different for everybody else, but I like to think that the birth of our child will top that, grandchildren, all things like that, my brother getting married and whatnot. I like to think those will make me just as happy. Yeah, so that's me done.
It's cool.
Yeah.
What was the reason you never had a dog growing up, Nick?
And my parents just never let me have one.
Never let you have one.
Dogists.
They weren't against it, but they were like, oh, you'll never look after it, such and such. Like, just don't think I'd be responsible
Have they
enough.
met you?
Yeah. What about you, Tom?
So when you the first thing that I immediately thought of when you said that, and I think it still rings true after putting some thought. A few years ago, on the Gold Coast, feeding elephants at Australia Zoo when they had them,
Oh wow.
and I don't know why, but it was like an indescribable feeling of just like childish sort of euphoria. Just like they come out, there's 3 elephants, and they bring these 20-litre buckets of cut fruit and stuff like that, and it's
Yeah.
so for all the guests at the zoo to go and feed the elephants. And obviously there's sort of queues of small children and stuff like that to go and feed these elephants, but slowly but surely everybody kind of falls off, and okay, I've given each of the elephants a piece of fruit now and it's done. But I stayed there for maybe 20 minutes or half an hour, emptying the buckets of food, giving them to these elephants. Like, all of the children have gone. There's like me and now ex-girlfriend and zookeepers. And I was just having the time of my life.
Literally,
like, yeah, like literally was. And it's strangely indescribable, and kind of like makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up a bit, thinking about how just like incredible that was for a reason I can't quite understand.
Had you always liked, like, are they your favourite animal, or is it just the moment, or?
Oh, they're certainly on the list. Pigs are my favourite animal. And then they
Do you eat
probably-
bacon?
I eat bacon.
You just
I
ate
thought it
bacon.
was sheep.
I just ate bacon.
That's why,
That's
he
why
likes
they're your
them,
favourite animal.
because they're delicious.
They're my favourite animal for more than reasons than one, including the fact that they taste good.
They're good in life and good in death.
Absolutely versatile. No, I've always had a thing for pigs. I have various pig things about the place, just sort of subtly around the house.
I'm with you, Tom. Pigs are also one of my favourite.
Oh,
animals. I've got pig stuff everywhere.
when I have a house with an outside, I'm going to have a pet pig. Like,
Really?
and he and Charlie will be friends. Yeah, it's it's just been a thing that has been true since forever.
I
And
went through a weird stage where I was like, I wasn't sure if I wanted to eat bacon or not. But I
I've-
just decided I'll do it anyway.
Just bacon or ham and pork as well?
Anything. I was like, I really, really like pigs, and I went for a stage where I was like, I can't bring myself to. But then I decided that the pigs I like the most are the piglets, you know, the baby pigs. So I was like, I'm just eating the ugly pigs, really.
that's
Because it's what they look like.
it's a good way to rationalize it. I've never sort of had that kind of moral quandary of, do I want to eat the animal that I love? I've been happy eating it, but obviously
what
when I
started-
get a pet pig, I'm not gonna eat that.
What started your infatuation with pigs?
I have absolutely no idea. But
Babe.
oh yeah, I don't know. No, it was before Babe.
Charlotte's
So
Web.
as even as a very small child, yeah, it's a good book. I don't know if I read it after Babe or before Babe, but I don't think there was anything that I could pinpoint that started it. It's just always been a thing for me.
And do you ever think?
Sorry,
Go on,
go.
sorry.
No, you go. I was gonna just move on to the next little bit.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you ever think you'll ever be that happy?
Yeah, I reckon. I think, well, the easy number one of being that happy again is doing it again, because I think
Just go feed
that
some more elephants.
just go and feed some more elephants, because I would feel like that. I have felt that good again since. The note that I put was giving best man speech. So my friend Scott down in Christchurch, I was his best man at the end of last year, and that sort of whole day and
Is that your Diablo friend?
being part of that is my Diablo friend Scott, and I'm allowed to call him Scott now as opposed to my friend in Christchurch.
We allowed it.
We approved that.
It's been approved.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just being involved in that day, and as sort of Nick, you and Jono have said, like, I would assume that an eventual wedding day will be up right up top of
When
the
do you
list
think
again.
that'll be?
Who do you think is going to get married first,
Ooh.
Tom or Jack?
Tom.
Definitely Tom.
I had a panic moment because the laptop went into the laptop went into sleep at that time, so I was like, oh fuck, don't stop recording, this could be awful.
I love how you all like assume that Sal's going to say yes when I propose to her as well.
That's true.
She's still going to say yes. It's not as easy as just proposing to her.
Do you want one of us?
Do you
to
think
ask
she
it for
wouldn't
you?
say yes?
Depends on the day.
That's
Depends
why
how-
he hasn't
what
asked her
she's
yet.
doing in the morning. Yeah.
Still trying to
I'm
win her
hold on as
over.
long as I can. Yeah, that's it.
Hopefully it is Tom, so then we can invite ourselves and just go over to New Zealand for a long weekend.
That would be fine.
Good point.
I'd allow it. Yeah, no, that I
Get onto
I-
that, Tom.
That's it's a thing that will inevitably happen,
Beautiful.
and I will be much happier about it than that statement made it sound. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It'll happen eventually. Yeah.
Fuck.
We
I
all succumb
guess,
to.
but we do. See, Claire, when you listen to this, it's not just me that talks like that.
I was joking.
As do I. Yeah, well, I had an interesting thought, and maybe you guys add to it at the end of your things going forward. But things that didn't appear on the list that you might expect. Buying
Yeah.
a house. It's like supposed
Yeah.
to be this big exciting thing, but for me it kind of wasn't. And I don't know why, because it may have something to do with the fact that it took us a year between sort of signing pen on paper to actually moving in, that it was a long, drawn-out, painful process as opposed to something super exciting. But
Yeah.
it doesn't kind of feature on the list of things when I think about happiest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah, I do as well. Like ours was like it was great when we moved in. We built our house and it was awesome when we moved in, but it was just it was a stressful, long-winded process, expensive obviously, and all the rest of the bullshit that goes along with
Yeah.
trying to fucking build a house and dealing with tradies and shit. So yeah, it's when I think about that, I think of fucking stress. that whole experience.
I don't even think in 20 years' time or whenever that might change, the mortgage is paid off. I don't even think that would be like a big celebratory day. It's just kind of like
About fucking
relief.
time.
Yeah.
It's just the thing. And there's not
And
like
because
an
you-
emotion tied to it in the same way that there is within a more personal experience. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And presumably, by the time we get to that point of paying off a mortgage, you've probably moved a couple of times before then. So it's not as though you have paid off the original house and now this whole thing's yours and all of these memories. You've probably moved on a couple of times and bumped it up here and cut off a bit
Yeah.
there. And yeah. And then my sports story that doesn't feature is winning the World Cup in 2015. Which is
You
a
won
pretty
the World
awesome.
Cup.
I did, yeah.
Well done.
No,
Tom.
the
Is
All
this
Blacks
World Cup
won
Which
of
the,
what?
position?
the All Blacks won the Rugby World Cup in 2015, and it was exciting, but it doesn't feature on my that exciting list. Just in contrast to your sports stories, it was pretty awesome. Like it was a great game, and we absolutely decked you guys, and just rubbing it in.
We don't
Is it
care.
because you expected to
it
win?
was-
No one gives a shit about rugby here. Well,
that-
actually, that's not true.
I don't think it was even an expectation. Like there was sort of nervous anticipation for the game. It was just, maybe just contrasting that sport doesn't feature that highly for me as it does Jack and Nick.
Is it like a karate world championship that you follow?
No,
You're the best.
There is. No one's ever gonna bring me down. There does exist world championships, but there's none that I explicitly follow like that. No.
All right. How about you, Dylan?
I don't really have an answer, so go Ash.
What?
What?
You,
I've been sitting here for 25 minutes or whatever, and I really don't have an answer.
You've never been happy.
Well, it's
What about your 100th platinum or something?
Or is it just hard to
No,
think about happy times now at the moment in the situation?
pretty much. That. Well, yeah. I figure if I ever had any memories that were particularly happy, they're so burnt in my memory. Like they're so just burnt to, they're crumbled in my mind that I can't even think of them anymore. I've literally been trying to sit here and think of something. Like, I don't have an answer.
We'll just chalk you up for first orgasm as the best moment of your life.
Sure.
Move on.
Sure.
What?
Let us know when it happens, Dylan.
Yeah, I'll tell you when I've got one.
What, his first orgasm?
So the,
That too.
so like there's never been like a time like where you've felt like you accomplished something, or you've done, or I don't know, you've nothing.
I don't have an answer.
Are all of those memories that you talk about, are they attached to like your previous relationship? Is that why they're all sort of
Yeah,
soiled
they're
from
gone.
that?
Yeah.
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 I did say it sort of a little facetiously, but not even like a particular YouTube goal or 100 platinum trophies, or
Nope.
they just kind of came and went and you didn't care much for it.
Well, they're not compared to. It's like, 100 platinums. Yeah, that's sure. I was happy, but you're talking about like bigger moments than that. So
Like life
100.
moments. Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
It,
sure.
it,
I
it
was
doesn't have
happy
to be
when-
something big. It's something personal. When have you felt that happiness?
I don't know.
Feeding
I'll tell you when it
elephants
happens.
wasn't a big life moment. Well, it was a big
Oh,
life
I don't know.
moment, but it was a pretty large life moment. Yeah, I take that back.
You are still like pretty young as well. Like you're only what, 24, 23, 24?
I'm 24.
Yeah,
I'm 25
so-
this year.
Like my two memories, so if I went back to when I was 24, I would probably have the same answer. I'd be like, I've achieved nothing, I've done nothing. There's nothing that's happened in my life that I've truly been happy with. If I think back to when I was 24, yeah.
I think my elephant story was at like 22, so I win.
Oh, fucking la-dee-da.
All right, I'll say RTX. Then.
I was gonna ask about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say the whole weekend.
It was meeting me in person.
Well, oh yeah, that was it.
You had to think about that.
I mean, if I was gonna pick one thing, that's literally the only from recent memory. Like that would probably be it. RTX, not just as Jono said, the Saturday night or whatever. Like just the whole weekend in general. Sure, because I'm currently riding off a wave of, like we're sitting here doing this. This is just a continuation of that.
Of that
So,
Isn't
weekend,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like a whole thing, I suppose. So yeah,
It certainly
I
is a
suppose
whole
that's my
thing.
answer.
So, do you ever think you'll be that happy again then?
As RTX,
Yeah.
I suppose so. I'd hope so.
Here's hoping, because it sounds like a pretty low bar that we set. So
It's
Yeah. Hanging out with us. Oh.
I was actually going to say the moment that you shaved off that dirty goatee, and
Yeah.
but then
That was
I
like
also remembered that there was actually like a bit of a sort of a story that you'd mentioned about that previously, and it was kind of a different sort of moment than one that I should take the piss out of. So
But you
what,
attempted
to. Do with
to.
my, to do with my why I
You want us
didn't
to
cut my
acknowledge
hair.
that you didn't take the piss out of something that you shouldn't have taken the piss out of?
I
Tom's
do,
just
yeah,
on a roll
please.
of taking the piss out of the things he shouldn't be taking the piss out of this episode.
I'm crushing it this week, guys. Crushing it.
Hey Dylan, I got a question. This isn't like taking the piss like Tom was with the platinum trophy thing, but what about when the Force Awakens came out? Because that's, I imagine, a pretty significant thing
No,
to you.
Rock solid.
no,
Okay.
no.
I was emotional. I'm not even a huge Star Wars
Yeah,
fan.
I was-
Like,
I mean,
compared to you.
I cried watching the trailer, but so did every other single fucking person in the world, I'm pretty sure. So it really doesn't feel like that big of a
It doesn't
deal
matter
when you-
how other people felt, it's how you felt.
No, but I don't know. Maybe I'm setting my bar for happy moments too high.
Tom's was feeding a fucking elephant. You surely you've got some.
Don't belittle his moment.
Don't make me belittle your moments, Jack.
Any more than he already has.
Yeah. All right, how about you, Ashley?
Yeah, I think feeding off both Jonah and Dylan, RTX that weekend was probably one of the best weekends of my life that in recent memory. Probably the high point, I think, coming out of that panel on Sunday night. I think we were all just so amped and so excited. And
Yeah.
it was like the best feeling. And then to have Tim and Greg pop out right after as well. kind of topped it off.
That was cool.
Oh, that's right. We'll all
Totally.
hang around, yeah.
Yeah, but obviously before that, I would say it would have been about 5 years earlier. I had a film that I produced that was in Tropfest, which is like a massive...
Why the fuck haven't you mentioned this before?
This motherfucker's been holding out
Just,
on us.
Jesus Christ.
it was like a school uni project, but
Yeah, but still.
I was like one of 6 producers.
It was
yeah, we went
Clerks.
down to Sydney for the short film festival, and we were there that night. That it got screened for the first time, and it got a really positive reaction. We actually got 3rd place. So
Nice.
Congratulations.
Jesus Christ.
That's cool,
What,
man.
what was the movie? What's it called?
it's a photo booth. I'm sure if you check out the Tropfest YouTube page, it's still there somewhere.
I might have
Photo
watched
page.
it years ago because I usually watch them if they go up online because I used to be obsessed with fucking when I was in high school. I would have been in high school when that probably because you're like 40.
So that was like a massive
When,
lie all night. It was pissing down. It like halfway through the thing, it just poured down rain. So we all got everyone who wasn't in the VIP section was soaked. So and me and one of the other producers stuck around, and we just happened. We couldn't hear anything about the presentations, but we saw our director go up and pick up the award, and we were like, "We must have won something."
Sweet.
Yeah. So
Producer
then we
slash
managed to-
seducer
we
Ashley
managed
Hobley.
to sneak into the VIP party, and that's the 3rd time I got drunk.
Did you pop bottles?
No, it was just
Shout
beer.
out.
Yeah.
Damn.
Call back to last week.
Yeah. Nice.
Good
and-
memory.
Yeah, the
So
only
do you-
other 3rd one that I want to mention is was Schoolies Week. Did you guys celebrate Schoolies?
No, I never finished school.
Yeah, neither did I. So
My school, so I grew up on the Mornington Peninsula, and there's a town called Rye down there, and I went to Rye for schoolies because we fucked up our booking. And when I say we fucked up our booking to go to Gold Coast, I mean we didn't pay for it. We just we booked it.
That's a
we booked.
major oversight.
Yeah, we booked it, and they're like, because we're like, yeah, let's get on, we'll book it. And the things, there was like the schoolies website, and they're like, if you fuck this up and you don't pay, you get blacklisted basically from every single hotel for schoolies, and you cannot book. And we're like, yes, we all went on, we booked, like, this is gonna be great. And it's like, payment is due in 48 hours. And we're like, and they're like, has anyone got $1,000? And everyone's like, no. And then that obviously never eventuated. So I spent my schoolies 5 kilometers away from home.
Rye's pretty cool, though. It's
Rye's
nice.
a shithole.
It's nice.
Rye is a fucking shit. No, Rye's nice. Rosebud, where I
Those
grew up, is a
beautiful
shithole.
views, yeah. I spent
We
my
didn't have
schoolies
schoolies.
on the
I
opposite
don't think beautiful
side of the
views come
peninsula.
into it for schoolies.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain beautiful views do come into it.
Yeah, so I didn't actually go down to the Gold Coast. Me and a bunch of friends went up to Rainbow Beach because one of my mates' parents had like a home that they owned up there that they were renting out, and
A batch.
yeah, the person who was staying there had recently passed away, so it freed up.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
A little dark.
so yeah, a little dark. But yeah, we all
Was it
stayed
like
up
Weekend
there
at
for like a
Bernie's
week.
or no?
No, the body was cleared out well before we went up there.
Opportunity missed.
Could have been
Yeah,
some
but that was like
hijinks.
that was kind of the last week that we were sort of together for that in that same way before we all sort of went in slightly different directions. So yeah, that was a pretty happy moment. And do I think I'll be happy that again? I'm pretty sure I will because I'm very happy every time I get to talk to you guys every week.
Oh, sweet. You're sweet.
God bless you, Ashley.
He certainly should.
All right.
Jono, can you hook that up?
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do. I got a few.
Thanks, Jono.
I just got a few more things I've thought of. Can I mention them?
Yep.
No,
Yeah.
no.
No,
go
you've
ahead.
had your chance.
So
That's enough happiness from you for 1 week.
I grew up as a Chicago Bulls fan and kind of idolized
Jordan.
Michael Jordan, and
Boom.
you know,
Space Jam.
so
Space Jam.
getting to
Looney
go
Tunes.
to Chicago about 7 years ago, and going to the United Center where they play and seeing a Bulls game was a really huge thing for me. And there's a statue outside the stadium of Jordan. It's a pretty famous statue. It went up when he retired the first time, when he went to play baseball. And seeing that
I was just thinking
statue,
about that.
yeah, seeing that statue was like, wow, like I'm here. I'm in this place that I've seen so many times in footage of the news coverage and in magazines and in probably even in like some movies and stuff. So it's, just to do that, as well as a lot of other places I got to see around the States. It was a really cool thing for me to think I'm so far from home. I'm kind of like in the movies.
Yeah, I can imagine I'd feel that way when I eventually get to a New England Patriots game.
Yeah, it's cool. And the other one that I wanted to talk about was related to my dog. Your story reminded me, Nick. We've got a little Maltese Shih Tzu, Indiana Bones, who's very dear to me, and he got really sick.
Awesome name, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. He got really sick, like when we'd had him for maybe 9 months, 10 months, and we didn't know what was wrong with him. He was just like doing weird things, like he was out of it. It was like he was drunk, and we couldn't figure out why. We're like looking around trying to find if he'd eaten something or if there was
no
something
alcohol in the house.
No, so there was like nothing in the backyard, nothing weird, and we took him to the vet, and they kind of said, "Is there anyone that would want to poison him or something?" And we couldn't think of any we couldn't think of anything, any issues with the neighbours. There was nothing like that, and so we were really worried. And
You weren't living next door to Jack?
no, we weren't living next door to Jack.
Oh, yeah, I'd never poison the dog. I'd just poison the neighbour.
No, but your sister would.
She'd strangle it.
Yeah. Anyway, so the vet was like, not sure about whether he would make it or not, and it was it was a really like dark time for me. Like I cried so much that night because I just went home thinking like we had to leave him at the vet, and I was just thinking like we've only had him for 8 or 9 months, and like I got so much joy out of that dog, and to lose him, I just felt like I just felt so crap, like, and it tore me apart, like, and I was thinking, like, if this is how I feel about a dog, I got pretty deep with it. I'm like, how am I going to be a father one day? Like, I was just like so distraught and like just cried.
Funny you should mention that. Like, I'll be at work one day and I'll just be thinking about, for some reason, my mind will just go to, I'll have to lose my dogs one day, and I just start tearing up and can't deal with it.
There he goes.
Oh, there he is.
I'm the same.
Yeah, it was rough, and like we were really, we were praying for him, and we were just really hoping that something would change. And then we found this little kind of white long roll. It's like the inside of like if you take apart a pen, a texter, and you know how there's like felt thing in there, and it was the menthol from a like a Vicks inhaler. So he'd gotten onto that and kind of chewed it apart and chewed the Vicks, and it's got this chemical in it that was messing him up. And he was on life support at that point. So we rang up the vet and told them what happened, what we found, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's really, really great. Thanks for letting us know." And the next day, I don't know if it's related to us figuring out what had caused it or not, but he pulled through fine, and he was pumped full of drugs and everything. And
Bounced back.
He bounced back, and Hannah brought him home from the vet. And when I got home from work, like, I just lay on the ground with him, and he licked my face, and I just didn't care. It was like one of the happiest I've ever been. And I'm just getting emotional thinking about it now, which is kind of silly compared to talking about like my wedding and stuff. But it was it was going from
that's a heaps better answer than your wedding.
But it was going from like such a low to such a high in like the space of a day. Like it just messed me up, and it just broke me down and built me back up again. And it was such a relief, and I just like anytime you think about like moments like that, they just make you appreciate like that dog more. But it's the same with it would be a person or anything that you value. Like you just think about losing that for a second, and it can kind of give you a bit of a wake up, I think.
Definitely.
I've got a question in relation to that.
Yeah.
Did you have pet insurance at the time?
No.
So, if you don't mind me asking, how much did all that cost you?
It was a few $100. It wasn't like an insane amount.
That's all right.
Yeah, it was an overnight stay at the vet.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know how much it would have been. Probably a lot more if we had to put him down or something. Yeah.
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 worth it regardless.
Because I remember
Fucking no.
a similar sort of thing sort of happened with Jax. Like, it was the day after he got his like final puppy needles, and we took him out to the beach and whatnot, and we come home and he was like the same, sick, throwing up, diarrhea, just not being himself, and we had to take him to like after hours vet and whatnot. Had to like drive him almost an hour to get him to this particular vet that we go to, and yeah, I like that was a couple of $100 too, and like I just think to myself, what if something really bad happens to him and like it's gonna wreck you financially, and we think, oh, maybe we should get pet insurance or whatnot, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like at that point, I didn't care how much it cost.
Yeah, I
to
wouldn't
do
care
anything.
either
Yeah.
too, but yeah, it's just something I think about sometimes.
Yeah, because you don't want to be in the position where you have to choose
Yeah,
whether you want to spend the money or not.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's one thing we should take from this is to all go and get pet insurance. So, two questions.
Once the
Well, one
sponsor comes
question
forward.
and then one sort of statement. Why do you go to a vet that is an hour away, Nick? You said it as though you've chosen that person for a particular reason or something.
Well, this particular vet we go to, they have 3 different like branches, and the one closest to us doesn't take like after hours, so we had to go to another one.
Ah, okay.
The other branch, it's an hour away. Yeah,
That makes a lot more sense. And then we had when Charlie was relatively young, an after hours vet experience. But the only thing I took away from that was he didn't stay in overnight, and we don't know what was wrong with him. He just had these awful shivers, and he wouldn't eat or anything like that. And
Yeah.
we ended up getting sent home. But the grilling that we got from the vet that assumed that we'd had weed at home and that the dog had gotten into that and eaten some was like not quite offensive, but like
Yeah.
is
You give
is
that
there
impression,
anything that
Tom.
you might is there anything that you might have at home that he could have eaten that he shouldn't? Nope. Is there anything at all that you might have at home? And I was just like, no.
Yeah,
No,
we got
there's
the same
nothing, like-
questions. They just have to ask, I guess.
Yeah, and it makes sense that they have to ask, but yeah, it just kind of very presumptive. It felt that you got any weed? Did you feed the dog some weed? Because
The
this
vet's
is kind
like,
of a weed thing.
got any weed, man? Maybe he was just looking for the hookup.
Maybe.
Or they've gotten that. That's been the problem a bunch of times before.
Yeah.
High dogs coming in.
Sorry, yeah.
What-
I don't want to get my hopes up, but I am expecting that next weekend, after as this is released at Kind of Funny Live, it's going to be a cracker weekend.
I think so.
Yeah.
That'll
That'll be
probably
up there.
feature on this list.
It'll be up there for sure.
We'll have to report back on that next week. But yeah, the 10 days, because Claire and I get sort of 5 days doing stuff together before you guys arrive, and then we kind of have 5 days worth of hanging out with you guys and everyone else. So yeah,
what,
fucking juice.
Jono and well, all 3 of you that are going, what are you doing with your pets when you go?
Mine's staying with Sally at home with William.
Oh, that's right. Sally's not going.
Yeah,
And
so she's
Hannah's not
neither
going
is
either.
Hannah. Yeah.
What about Tom?
Yeah, Tom, what are you doing?
Charlie's going to Nelson to be with my brother for...
Is
2
Nelson
weeks.
a place?
Nelson is a place. It is right at the top of the South Island. So
Is it your brother's name too?
my brother's name is Daniel. So I'm putting him on a plane on Friday.
Oh, wow.
My brother's picking him up from the airport, and he's hanging out down there for a fortnight. And then the weekend that we get back, brother's coming up to stay with us for the weekend and bring him back with him and hang out. And
Is he Airbnb?
he's not Airbnb-ing. I have blocked out the room so it's unavailable.
So is there not someone closer that can take care of Charlie?
The neighbours. You spy on.
No, I wouldn't give him to the neighbours.
You could have put a camera on him. Get the inside
There
scoop.
might be. I don't know. Like, there's a.
Do you two not have family close, or
Well, Claire's mum and dad are the closest, and they're like 2 hours of drive away. That's where he's going when we go to Rarotonga. But
What?
yeah, then
Stop making up places.
We've
The
talked
Cook
about this.
Islands. We've
the
talked
only
about
actual
this.
place that he's actually that it is real that he's actually mentioned. I've been there. It is
And
a real place. He said it wrong though.
Oh,
What? Oh, you just want me to say the Cook Islands, don't you?
No. Wait, what did you say? Where did you say you were?
Rarotonga.
I thought you said something completely different. Carry on.
What did you think, Jack?
Apology accepted. Yeah, and then the old
Rotorua,
flatmate.
I think is what I thought you said.
No, I said Rarotonga.
Yeah, I know that now.
The old flatmate would be happy to look after him. Him and his girlfriend. Yeah, and they live 10 minutes drive away. But yeah, doesn't quite work out when it's for 2 weeks.
Yeah, sure.
Jono,
I think for my brother, it's a test run of can he buy his own dog and have a dog in the house and take it to work with him and whatnot, because I think that's what he's doing with Charlie. So
Cool.
What does he do for work?
he works for NZNO, which is New Zealand Nurses Organisation, as a union organiser.
What were you going to say, Ash?
you've got a book about to come out. How does that compare to the other things you mentioned?
Yeah.
Yeah, the selling the copy number 250 in the pre-order campaign to get funded for querying to publishers. That's a really long way of saying selling enough copies to get published. That was really a pretty special moment. Like, I put up a video of myself with the Rocky music playing and jumping around with the dog. And yeah, that
I remember that.
Yeah, you remember that. That was before we knew
A
each
long,
other.
long time ago.
Yeah, that was before meeting. Yeah.
September. It was late September. Yeah.
That's my victory song, the Rocky music.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. But
By the Rocky music, do you mean "Eye of the Tiger"?
no.
No, I mean like.
Or do you mean-
I think it's called. I think it's called the final bell. Actually, it's actually the.
Yeah.
Dun,
Okay,
dun, 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 dun.
Someone, one of like my very first like bosses in sales was like, he used to, because I'm like half Italian, he used to call me Rocky, and he was like it was this beat. It was always like we were always doing like G up and like training and stuff like that, and like it's all about getting hyped.
You were doing
and this,
what?
that, and the other, like G'ing each other up, and like he's like, you need victory music, get victory music, Rocky, and I'm like, he's like, the Rocky music, that's your victory music. So like anytime, like if I like I'm a salesperson, so if I sign a big deal or something like that, or when I've gotten like a new job that I've applied for, or gotten
Once
something
you
across
put
that,
in the work.
yeah, once I've put in the work and I get like a win, that's my victory music. I just hum it to myself, like, dun, 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 and I do a little fucking boxing thing, like dun, 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 and like up the stair, like when he gets to the top of the stairs, like dun, 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 dun. Like
Yeah.
it's it can be awkward. People walk in and there's just some random dude like singing to himself with his arms up in the air, and it's like, what the fuck's this guy doing? But anyway, other happy moments attached to that song.
Very happy. It's great. But yeah, getting to the end of that really long kind of effort was a great thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much.
So was that 250 copies goal you set, or that they set for
Yeah,
you?
that was their kind of level of saying that they had confidence in the book and that they could vouch for you, I guess, by taking it to
Yep.
the publishers and saying, this guy's already proven he can sell this many, so, take a chance on him. Yeah.
ABBA.
Take a chance.
All right. I think that about wraps it up for this week.
Yeah.
Thank you all for laying it all on the table for me.
No worries.
In regards to depth, this was the kiddie pool, and next time we come round to me, we'll go even deeper again.
I like it.
Damn.
You can contact us on pleasureexplosion.com/contact. You can find us on Twitter @ExplosionPod. Please rate and review us on iTunes and subscribe to our YouTube. We really need it. We need that 100 subscribers to get the custom URL.
And Dylan, if you don't mind cutting that bit out and putting it at the end of the episode that I just hosted because I forgot, that would be great. Appreciate it. Nice work, Nick.
All right. Where can we find you, Ashley?
You can find me on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEY, HOBLEY.
Dylan?
Viva La Dil, Vivaladil.
Jono.
You can catch me on Twitter at Jono himself, and also follow Spy and the Maven to check out my book, which will be coming out very soon, and many of you may have also already got your copy at this point.
Jack.
You can follow me at cruisy_mate on Twitter and cruisymate on YouTube.
Tom.
Tom DeBomb 89, TOMDABOM 89, and we have some funny discussions on Twitter, so you should check us out.
Yeah.
Everywhere
But
except
not on
Snapchat.
Snapchat.
They're amusing.
And you can find me on Twitter at Lord N.Prior. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Dr. Pepper.
Bye.
It certainly does.